Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on? What up, what up, what up? What's going on with all you happy hashers out there? It is another State of Economics 101, the good, the bad, and the ugly with investing. Yo, I see we got Automatic Beats in the house. What's up? We got Crypto Bedell. What's going on, homies? Sorry about that. Got into a conversation on basically frisbee golfing and stuff like that. So, and lost track of time. So sorry about that. That was my bad, as you can see. Oop. Frisbee golf discs. Pulling out my old stuff there, and I haven't played as much as I used to, but yeah, whenever I was in college, man, I played a lot. That was like the go-to thing, 'cause it's free. And if you go into the right areas, you can find free discs to play a free game. It's amazing, especially if you go trumping around in some yucky, muddy water. You can usually find a disc or two, enough to be able to play. Pro tip. I mean, if you guys want to check out frisbee golfing, pro tip. So, hopefully everybody is having an excellent week and all that good stuff. It is hump day, yeah. So let's go ahead and dive right on into things. Yo. And Bedell, it is totally F-A. So S&P index is up about 1 point. We are trading above 4,100. NASDAQ 100 is up almost 1.25%. U.S. dollar dominance kind of flatlining. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up basically 1.25%. The Russell 2000 is up almost 2.25%. Stocks, Apple's kind of trading out sideways. AMD still having another wonderful day. Amazon doing great too at almost 2%. We got AMD at almost 2.25%. Tesla is actually doing pretty good. We're almost at 4.5% up. Netflix has found a little support with their Go Woke, Go Broke agenda. Some companies look like Meta's getting more advertisement, so of course their company is going to show profit once once advertisers start doing business with Meta, and Meta shows profit. As soon as Meta shows profit, stock go up. I mean, that's just kind of how Meta works. If you guys have never paid attention to it, they are at the direct mercy of other companies in order to stay afloat. So as long as companies want to do business with Meta, Meta will always be there, guys. I'm just saying. Until it stops being a place where people want to advertise to. Yeah. Crypto market seeing a little bit of a rally here. Bitcoin up 1.14%. That, to me, that's a good thing. We have a little bit of a rally here. Love it. Ethereum still, having an issue. Taking a look at that $1,900 Ethereum, where Bitcoin is rallying, Ethereum is not. But of course, we all know Ethereum has had a couple of glitches in their consensus, not validating, not once, but twice, within a very short amount of time. And these are many, many more issues that will come arising with Ethereum as time goes on. Ethereum is no longer secure, it's centralized, and they are now going to have centralization issues. Yep, their stuff's starting to break. That's what they got. And anybody that's still using it, it's like, I'm not saying that Ethereum can't rally above 1,900. It can't get back to $4,000 per Ethereum. The fundamentals aren't there for it right now. Unless something changes in the fundamentals, I don't know if their user base has enough in them to pump the price of Ethereum up to its even near its all-time high. It would take a lot of serious new investors to come in that get pulled directly into Ethereum. And I don't see that fundamentally happening anytime soon. So outside of that, Ethereum is pretty much going to be toe tapping and having an issue getting above that $1,900 right now. Ethereum dominance is also slipping. Bitcoin dominance going up. As Bitcoin's dominance rallies, Tether dominance drops, of course, because the money's coming out of Tether and going into Bitcoin. And altcoins typically suffer in that type of an environment. That means it's all eyes on Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin numbers go up, and all the altcoins numbers go down. Now, when Bitcoin's dominance kind of draws back a little bit, then we'll start seeing the altcoin dominance start rising, and you will see a rally at that point. Usually when Bitcoin does a slow and steady rally, it's not until that rally's over, then people start piling back into all the altcoins. So this is an accumulation phase of Bitcoin. That's usually what I see with Bitcoin dominance as being high. It's not very high. I've seen Bitcoin dominance be into the 60% range. So with that being said, this is still on the low side. But seeing that Ethereum's dominance is waning too, with Ethereum's dominance kind of waning, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that means that there's the smart people are getting the hell out of Ethereum, like all of you awesome, amazing people out there. I'm just saying. And of course, Bitcoin's still trading out sideways. Bitcoin's going to start doing the Bitcoin thing. We could sit there and drop out from here, but we did put in a higher low and a slightly higher high. It's not much, right? It's not much, but it's still a higher low and a higher high. As long as you can close the day off like that, typically that gives you a little strength. A little. Not a whole lot, just a little bit of strength. This is a small little rally, and it is the rally is playing out as I've been sitting there and telling people. I'm not trying to be perfect about this, but bro, since the beginning of the year, I have been pretty much calling the market very, very accurately, not to the exact date, and not to the exact, I'm not giving out price levels or anything like that, but I'm just saying, hey, look, the market looks like it's going to oscillate. What did it do? The market started oscillating. And then when we slid down here, as we started sliding over, I was like, we did not put in a higher high on the last oscillation. That means we're about to break down. We tried 3 times and failed. It's now time to break down and test a lower level for support. And basically we have dropped off, found that lower level support, came rallying back up. V-shaped recovery here. This is a textbook V-shaped recovery. We came down to that $25,800 Bitcoin on a wick. We came down with a V-shape and came back up to trade out sideways. And for the last 3 days, we've not only been trading out sideways, but we've been putting in a slightly higher low and a slightly higher high. That is bullish sentiment even on the short term. Can we break down further from here? Absolutely. I'm not even going to begin to sit there and say that we can't break down and test out this $22,000 Bitcoin. I am not going to sit there and say that cannot happen. But if I was more of a gambling man and I was going to call it, I would say let's see here. Let me extendo this one out. 24,248, I think, would be the breakout, the breakdown point, and then we'd bounce off for another V-shaped recovery. But I think if we come down, it'll be down and out within a few days. It's not going to be down and out and trade out. I think that would bring out some movement into the market. It almost seems like somebody's trying to manipulate the market down in order to get a big buy-in. Hey, what up, Sadie? What's happening? What's up? What's up? Thank you, everybody, for being here, as usual, guys. Every one of you. Y'all are awesome people. So, I'm hoping that we get more of a tightening here from this point. If we can hold this a trend line all the way to the end of the month, if we can just hold this line, I think that's even more bullish for the closing of the month. If we can sit there and close the month above 27,000, that means that we will still put in a green candle for the month. So, bullish sentiment. It's like if you start zooming in. Now, if I wanted to zoom in, right? Because this is on the daily. This is usually the closest I get to looking at things. But I typically like to look on it at the week. The week gives you a lot of good information. And if you look at it from the week, we haven't had the golden cross yet. The MA moving average, the 200-day moving average basically hasn't not crossed over yet. We're getting there on the weekly. If we put in next week's candle with a lower high and a lower low, we will officially be back into bear to bear territory on the weekly. But this is the monthly. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months consecutive. Where we have been in a bullish pattern. If you sit there and you look at the rest of the charting on this, from the peak of the market all the way until now, we are still looking at we're basically in a cyclical bull run in a bear market still. If you really look at it. Now, if you also add into the concept of what the median price of Bitcoin should be around, and if we were to put this month into perspective, we would be right around a $22,600 Bitcoin is the median price of Bitcoin overall. LTC Haven soon. Got that moonshot over there. We can look at that Litecoin here too. Litecoin on the monthly. Well, let's look at it on the daily. And if you look at Litecoin on the daily, Litecoin's about to have a golden cross. And what a golden cross is whenever the MA, the moving average, the 200-day moving average, crosses over all the other divergent lines. So that's pretty much what Litecoin's setting up to do. It may oscillate out and then come down, because if you can see it, it did a small oscillation, broke out, and then rubber banded up. If you look at what Bitcoin's doing, right? We started oscillating, rubber banded out, and then broke down. Can we see a rally before another breakdown? Absolutely. This is the market that usually puts in a little bit of momentum into the market. That we've done a big movement coming down. We've had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of breakdown. On the 9th day, we saw a market cool off, and now we're trading sideways. The moving averages are tightening up. This can set up for another rally event. Not saying that it's going to, but this is some of the setups that happen for another rally event. And if you, on the 15th, the oscillator even shows a little bit of a buying potential, and that was after on the 9th day, the 9th consecutive trading day for Bitcoin from a dropout. We can potentially see the same amount. Let me see here. Potentially, we can see from this point, which would put like a $30,000, $30,500 Bitcoin before we break back down. If you take it from the peak to the bottom of the movement of this dropout, that's about the height of your potential rally from this point. Hey, what up, Goblin Dude? What's up? What's up? So this market is showing that we could be seeing for another $30,000 test. Now, does it mean that we will test and hold? No. If the market cannot find actual reason to call for a $30,000 Bitcoin, it will break back down. I'm not sure what that would be that would call for a $30,000 Bitcoin outside of, a ton of Bitcoin hodlers wanting to see this hit a higher high and hold, moonshot and Lambo and all that crazy stuff, right? Well, the matter is it has to have a reason to rally to 30,000. Right now, the rally that we have right now is because banks are incredibly fragile and looking like they're on the brink of collapsing. And collapsing banks means money printing. Money printing means Bitcoin gets more expensive. Gandhi, 70 million USDC whale just hit crypto.com. You see, $70 million of USDC doesn't affect Bitcoin. So, I mean, I'm not really concerned about stable coins of what somebody's doing with their stable coin. Because they're supposed to have the money backed up in a bank account. It's not supposed to be backed by Bitcoin. I'm just saying. So, poop coin purchase, perhaps, maybe. Bitcoin got really expensive there when we were seeing astronomically high sats per megabyte. It was high sat. The price of Bitcoin got expensive to move around. It was the transaction fees is what Goblin Dude's talking about here. So, to me, here is a reason why I was sitting here and saying that the Bitcoin ordinals were junk. It was not something that Bitcoin was designed to do. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I mean, it'd be like, how can I put it? Like, you can commit a crime and you know you can get away with it. Doesn't mean that you should. That's what they just did to Bitcoin. We had a man child deciding to go, well, I can do it on there, I'm going to. Well, when those people try to move those ordinals around, it takes up so much block space that if you want to be included in a block, or you want to make sure that you get your transaction through, the price goes up, because the miners don't want to mine one ordinal. Because one ordinal takes up a full block to move. Because it was never designed to do it. And now you got these B trashers going, oh, this is why Bitcoin should have big blocks. It's like, then take your Bitcoin ordinals on the B trash. You've already got the big block. Why are you doing this on the Bitcoin side? You know, it's just another attack. It's just something that the coders for Bitcoin are going to have to figure out a solution in how to organize the Bitcoin block so that the Bitcoin ordinals do no longer take up massive amount of space. They needed an efficiency built into that coding. That's all it is. So it's just a matter of, can somebody figure out what the solution is in code to make the Bitcoin ordinals lightweight on the system? So we'll see how Bitcoin, the devs really react with this. I mean, it's censorship resistant, permissionless. So they can't sit there and say, we're just going to block it. Because that would show centralization and everything that would cause the crypto space to die. I'm just saying. So they've just got to figure out what the solution is to making the ordinals efficient. That's all it is. I think it's just an efficiency thing. Because Bitcoin had high transaction fees, in 2017, 2016, until they came out with SegWit. And it made an efficiency into the block header, which made the transaction fees come down. They're gonna have to just figure out another upgrade that is going to solve the Bitcoin ordinals issue. That's all it is. I see nothing bad with it. It's code, so they just got to figure it out. Is there a solution to it? More than likely, without doing any kind of censorship whatsoever. Oh God. The Bitcoin block size war with Roger Ver. The Bitcoin Jesus. And Big Blocker. He is a big proponent for B Trash now. He likes his mostly empty blocks and lower hash rate. I'm just saying. It's an interesting book for sure. And enjoy the block size war. It explains a lot and why there's so much so many people trade blows with the B Trash people. It explains a lot. You know what doesn't explain a lot? How this number keeps on growing. I mean, we got a government that just keeps on spending, but the number never goes down. It's the weirdest thing. You never see this number ever slow down or go down. You just see it slowly speed up. You're like, how does it do that? How does it do that? It's like every tax-paying citizen out there needs to pay $13,699. For the that's what they revenue average. Each worker. If you're working, and everybody were to pay the $248,000 and let's call it $249,000, we would still be broke and running up a deficit. If we were on a Bitcoin standard with the government, they wouldn't be able to run these numbers. And you know what would happen? The government would actually not shut down, but it would get rid of people that it can't afford. I know it's the weirdest thing. They used to call that thing what did they call that? Oh yeah, that's right, a budget. Wow. You have X amount of dollars coming in, and you can't print any more. Well, you got to go, well, do we need that $50 million committee? No? All right, shut it down. But because they can print the money at will, they're already talking about raising the debt ceiling again, guys. They had the omnibus bill back in December, guys. And they're already broke. Oh, yeah. And you have countries now that are trying to de-dollarize themselves. You have, of all people, China going through and trying to get countries into peace talks. And that's very bad for the United States. Why? Because then we don't have this perpetual war machine. That means that we can't, act like gangbangers in other countries to force them onto the dollar standard. If you're forced into the dollar standard because the U.S. government came through, that's an issue. And that's something that a lot of these countries are now starting to reject because they're watching the value of the dollars they're spending going down. Because the market is being flooded by it. And them trying to switch over to a CBDC makes it worse. You want to sit there and show the world that there's no cap on basically your hyperinflation. It is if they implement CBDCs to the public, that will be hyperinflation. We will be currently living in a Weimar Republic. You guys don't know the Weimar Republic? Please, I implore you to do so. I would ask you to do the research on that. Research Weimar Republic. That's what the CBDC is going to be ushering in, which will cause a lot of these countries to de-dollar rather quickly, like their house is on fire. And everything for us here in the United States will go through the roof, guys. Absolutely through the roof. It's unfortunately. Once the U.S. income tax can't pay the interest on the loans, it's all over. We can't pay the interest on the loans. We've been kicking the can down the road. We print money so that we can pay our debts. This time we're funding a war with two countries that don't have anything to do with us. Oh yeah, 100%, John Jermaine. It is the government, the House and the Senate that is at fault for this out of control spending. Yeah, exactly, John Jermaine. Weimar Republic. You take a wheelbarrow full of money to the store to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, imagine having a $2.2 million loaf of bread. That was Weimar Republic. These are things that Bitcoin, gold, and silver will solve. You have Bitcoin, gold, and silver, you will be some of the richest people once this kicks in. Just saying. Oh, that's been going on for decades. I mean, don't you remember the $1,000 ergonomic hammers back in the 80s? Not Bitcoin gold, by the way. Exactly. It's Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Gold and silver is God's money. Bitcoin is the people's money. We need to make sure that people are on some type of a gold standard. Whether you are doing precious metals or Bitcoin. If the US economy blows up tomorrow, do you think any of your shit coins are going to sit there and survive? You're talking about an economic apocalypse. There won't be one poop coin out there that will survive that. You will have people worried about making sure that they can put food on their table tomorrow. And they're going to rush into 3 assets. And 3 assets alone. That'll be gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I mean, that's why I try to get these little messages out. Make sure that we're all in a good position. I'm not giving you any financial advice. I just want us to be in a good position. Right? I just want everybody to make sure that you can put food on your table. This is not financial advice. This is survival. Big difference. Just saying. Just saying. And they still haven't released any new numbers for this year. We're still on February, so January and February numbers are identical. 371,579 barrels of crude oil, fellas. That's not a lot of oil, guys. That's like 6 to 10 months worth of military operations if we get cut off from the rest of the world. That means each one of us in the United States won't have any gas for our cars. It'll be all allocated to the government for everything that they need to do. I'm telling you guys, this is just how it works. This is strategic oil reserves. This is military use, government use, not for the people. They don't care if you can't get anywhere and drive. You should have bought. They're going to look at it like, oh, you should have bought a Tesla you can't afford. I don't get the mindset on it. It's wild. It is absolutely wild. Here's one that's kind of wild. We still have a 3.4% unemployment rate. 5.7 million people are on unemployment services of some sort. Unemployment insurance claims have gone down 1.9% to 1.9 million people. It was at 2.2. These are active claims. So now they're going through and denying them. That's all it is. Is that they're denying these claims. So these are people that the unemployment numbers are way higher. There's just a lot of people who don't bother to put in on insurance claims because they think that they can't qualify for it. So they don't even bother. So you're going to see that number tick down. And because this number here is what it is, we're going to see Jerome Powell increase the interest rate another 25 basis points, I bet. When he does his next thing, I believe he's going to do the a 25 basis points, so 0.25% rise. So it'll cost the banks 5.25% interest in order to get a new loan. My interest on my house is less than that. They're now losing money, big money. And they can't restructure my agreement because it's under contract. Just saying. The government's FedNow program is CBDC, not essentially. That is the CBDCs. They might not call it that, but that's the technology they're trying to roll out. FedNow is CBDC tech. Pretty soon you'll have to chase the banker down the street to make a house payment. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be insane. I mean, people are not going to be able to afford to even purchase a house in the future because the interest rate's going to be outrageous. They're going to be squeezing every penny out of anybody they can. They're going to sit there and put people in the houses that can't afford it with incredibly low interest rates, while the people that have good interest rates and can afford a higher payment are going to get charged that higher payment because the government is going to try to extort money from the people by any means necessary. Welcome to the New World Order. Just saying. Hopefully the YouTube algorithm doesn't pick up on that one. Crypto bank runs in 2022 catalyzed by institutional withdrawals. Research suggests the lack of insurance for depositors on crypto platforms induced fear among retail and institutional clients, leading to heavy withdrawals and a liquidity crunch. I'll disagree with that one right off the bat. Right off the bat. If you have money in a bank account, all bank accounts are insured for $250,000. Each bank account. So, what the big thing that would be a red flag is, why do you have $500 million in a single bank account? In a single point of failure? A single centralization. People want to sit there and tell me, oh, it's not centralized. Well, follow the money. How centralized is that? You got a lot of these companies that are sitting there on multiple, that have been in 3 banks. Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, and First Republic. 3 banks holding how much money of crypto? Are these people stupid? Even Tether's smarter than that. And we know Tether centralizes all get out. But at least Tether has their stuff spread out between several banks in several countries. Why do all these big banks have multiple bank accounts? I mean, not these big businesses, I'm sorry. Why do you think all these big businesses have multiple bank accounts? Pooey, words. Because they want to make sure that if there's any kind of an issue at any one single bank, that they still have access to funds. Why are these crypto companies sitting there putting all their money into one bank account? $500 million in one bank account? Are you stupid? Were you dropped on your head when you were born? From a business standpoint, that is the stupidest thing to do. Even if you're sitting there and you're mining Bitcoin at scale, you don't have one single wallet to mine to. Because you want to make sure that there's redundancy in your protocol. This way, your security platform has a way to buffer out an issue. You can't buffer out an issue. You're going to have issues in the crypto space because that wasn't Bitcoin issue. That was a crypto problem. Strike had shelved their debit card program on their app. I don't know why, but the significance of that. It's hard to get credit card companies to work with crypto companies seamlessly. Strike might have found that it was more trouble than it was worth, and then that people should just deal with Bitcoin and Lightning. We've already got Lightning is already a solution far better than credit cards. I mean, you have Bitcoin, which makes the banks obsolete, and then you have Lightning Network, which makes credit cards obsolete. You have your fast and slow right there. There's your replacement of your institution. At least when I go to send, if you go to send $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 worth of Bitcoin, you can send it within 30 minutes. You do that through your bank account, you're waiting 2 to 10 days to be able to do that. That's just ridiculous. You've never dealt with, you can transfer from bank account to bank account real quick, but you try to pull it out so that you can pay contractors, they want you to sit there and wait. You're going to have to wait a couple of days. Bitcoin's faster than that. Just saying. Yep, exactly. The dealing with the credit card companies is just not worth it. You have the transactional fee between all of that. You don't have a huge demand on it. It's one thing if you have like Cash App. Cash App's kind of interesting in how they're doing it. They've got the crypto baked right into their platform, and they're already registered as a bank, basically. So they've got to deal with all the same laws and registrations that banks and credit cards have to go through. So you have apps like that that'll still offer a credit card of some sort, which is very convenient. But I think that in the long term, we're going to be seeing a lot of these crypto-focused companies stopping with the offering of credit cards. There's not a lot of demand on that, guys. People are still looking at this as it's gambling, or it's, this is a savings account. So people don't want to spend their Bitcoin like money. They don't. That is not a normal mode of thought going. My investment is money. What people are more worried about is the number going to go up or down tomorrow. So credit cards, I'd see them over time being phased out of the system in lieu of a more mainstreamed Lightning Network with Bitcoin. That's just my opinion on it. Could be wrong, but my opinion is that I think the Lightning Network, as it becomes more robust and easier to set up, we're going to see more adoption on that. And that will change the idea of how Bitcoin works, because then you're talking settlement in seconds for pennies on the sats. It's cheaper to send stuff through Lightning Network. Just saying. So, but getting back to the article here, platforms that the report identified that withdrawals done by crypto whales and large account holders on the centralized exchanges included some key institutional accounts, created a liquidity crisis that eventually led to the bank run itself. Celsius doing about $2 billion worth of withdrawals. Voyager doing just under $2 billion worth of withdrawals. BlockFi pulling out everything they had, which was 170 million. Genesis pulling out 1.1 billion. FTX liquidating $7.81 billion. So, and these were being pulled out of singular banks. And these banks can't handle that. They're already broke. And then that would cause more clients on the other side to sit there and start moving their stuff. And you can see the time lapse of the collapses. Even Taro collapse. Three Arrows Capital collapse. These collapses were done at singular banks. Some of these, were Silicon Valley Bank. They bet bad. They took a loss. Market, the treasury market took a crash and is yielding less. Interest rates are getting higher. With almost 0% interest rates, Terra Luna collapsing, whatever. Three Arrows Capital collapsing, whatever. But we have FTX, BlockFi, Voyager Digital, all of this happening at the same time. That's bad. Bad. And then that started making the other accounts want to take their money out and created a big bank run. Now, they're going to sit there and try to blame crypto for this whole thing. You want to know what's awesome about all of these companies here? They were all companies that were supposed to be regulated by the SEC. Gary Gensler not doing his job here to prevent a bank collapse. So this was an SEC issue created by Gary Gensler, and that he's trying to sit there and blame crypto for this issue when each one of these companies had to be oversighted by the SEC directly because of the money brokerage on there, and that they were, it just blows my mind on how they're going to sit there and look at crypto in general when these people were money makers. BlockFi dealt with cash. Genesis dealt with cash. FTX dealt with cash. Celsius dealt with cash. These should have all been regulated, and they weren't. So Gary Gensler did drop the ball here, created this issue. But outside of that issue, we're looking at the idea that it exposed the banking issue. The underlying banking issue has been exposed, which is that they are heavily exposed to treasuries that are yielding less than what they are. State of Economics Dreams and the insights in the chat provide amazing macro visions. Thanks, guys. For sure, Fudweiser. I mean, we could sit there and, look at these bonds here, right? These are the same bonds the banks are holding. 10-year Treasury is yielding 0.06%. Interest rates are 5.25% right now. We need to see 5.5%. We'll see some more banks collapse. But last time I noticed that they, at 3, it's only up 0.06%. I mean, the interest rate return on there is 3.572%. That is nothing when the interest rate is 5.25%. That means every time they have to sell one of these garbage 10-year treasuries, they are losing money. Every time they have to sell. And why would a bank have to sell? Because they need to be able to sell to get you the cash you're trying to withdraw out. A bank run means that they cannot sit there and sell the treasury bonds fast enough and still be able to cover the spread. AKA, the banks are flat broke. 197 banks in the United States alone are broke. They can't effectively give you your money. I mean, that's just the sad truth on this. The banks could not give everybody their money even if they wanted to. Which negates the idea of what the bank is there for. They're giving you IOUs, and then they go to piss your money away. And now we have a government that's willing to step in to do endless printing, which will either put us into a Weimar Republic or they've got to let banks collapse. If they choose to let banks collapse, there'll be a lot of people going homeless, hungry, and jobless, companies shutting down. It'll be an economic disaster. And whatever politician is on watch when that happens will never get elected again. So, an economic collapse is not in the cards. It will never collapse. They will endlessly print money. They will bring in helicopters worth of money. They will bring out the bombers with money. Trying to make sure that the economy flows. And when that economy still locks up, that's when hyperinflation hits in. Bitcoin will go to probably $1 million per Bitcoin. A loaf of bread will have the same value. I'm just saying, we are looking at the precipice of an economic failure here, guys. And it just looks like their solution is to print more money. They're talking about a $1 trillion platinum coin. There's no such thing as a $1 trillion coin. I don't care how much they want to pray and hope and transgender it, whatever kind of hocus pocus they want to sit there and do, sprinkle a little extra sauce on it. No, there's no such thing as a $1 trillion coin. They can stamp it with whatever picture they want on there. It doesn't make the picture true. Yep, Janet Yellen's $1 trillion coin. You know, it's our get out of jail free card. You know, we just print another trillion. Why? Because we got these $1 trillion coins. Well, how much weight of platinum is there? Because platinum's not very expensive. Just saying. I mean, that's got to be a gigantic coin. Janet Yellen could not pick that coin up. But she wants to say, oh, it's not much bigger than a normal coin. What up, Wheeling Crypto? Yeah, I mean, that is going to be, if they go through that with that $1 trillion coin, that'll be the biggest scam and defraudment of the United States people. And that if it doesn't piss them off, if it doesn't piss the people off, man, I'm going off grid, dude. Well, not completely. I'm going to go off grid as much as I can. I'll probably still do videos and stuff, but it'll be off grid life, dude. I'm telling you now. I'll be like, I'm done dealing with the world. They're crazy. I'm just going to grow my own veggies, have my animals, and call it a day. I'm just saying, the world is getting there. I'd rather almost just to sit there and stockpile up on farm fresh produce and bullets. Just saying. Just saying. Because they're basically talking about nuking the economy. Janet's little imaginary coin will lay it'll take the economy and turn it into a nuclear waste zone that nobody in the world would want to be in. And it's going to affect everyone. Because it's going to put the dollar into hyperinflation. We'll see how this goes. She's talking about the $1 trillion coin because there's no other assets that they can purchase. The way that some of these bonds work is that they'll sit there and they package up these. How can I put it? They can only sit there and they take in some of the bank's debt of good equity. They cannot sit there and touch bad equity in any way, shape, or form. The reason that they've been able to do that is that they've been reclassifying junk bonds. The Treasury cannot touch junk bonds. So they sit there and they relabel the junk bonds, and then they're like, oh, look, we can sell this now. It's junk on a failing company. That's why if they start putting in some more of these junk bonds, it's going to take down the yield on it because you have more of a risky bond in there. And that bond doesn't yield a lot. It'll take down the average yield on those bonds, and it'll put the banks into even more of a crisis. So they know that they can't take on more junk bonds into the Treasury because that'll take down the economy. And they can't just print money out of nowhere. That'll tank the economy. So, and if they do nothing, the economy will tank. Along with credit default swaps, yep. And insurance companies will rate those bonds AAA. You know it. You absolutely know it. It's going to be a sleight of hand where they're going to put progressively junkier bonds into there in order to do that. Otherwise, they've got to print up an imaginary coin. It's either you make junk bonds, AAA bonds to buy, or you print an imaginary coin. It's your only two options at this point, because no politician's going to let the economy crash on their watch because they know they'll be flipping burgers the next day. They will not have a job. That's career suicide. So by any means necessary, they are going to make sure the economy always has liquidity. Then the UFOs invade. Yeah, I'll go off grid, man. I'll be like, yeah, the world's nuts. Who's with me? We're gonna start like a new Amish paradise, right? Crypto Bedell, you claim America as a refugee status at that point. That is so true. It's like, imagine all like Mexico builds a wall and they're like, why are you building a wall? Keep all you crazy gringos over there. Right. Make sure you got some brass, lead, heirloom seeds for vegetables, chickens, cows, goats, and meat sheeps. And some guineas. Guineas are good for for eating bugs. Just saying. Chonkins, yes, sir. 100%. Got to make sure we got those chunkings. Don't know what you're talking about, Fudweiser. Don't know what you're talking about. We call those portable hole punchers. That's what they identify as. Just a hole punch machine. And let's see here. This one, it's about time somebody looked at it from this lens, and you've been listening to me long enough. You hear me talking about this all the time. If you're dealing with crypto, you are freaking gambling. Doing nothing more than gambling. Crypto retail trading should be regulated as gambling. UK lawmakers. I feel a little vindicated from this. Unfortunately, has to be a government sitting there and agreeing with this one, but it is correct. You are gambling. Like, we don't have those toys up here in China. I know, man. They took all that away from you guys, man. Well, they tried. I mean, they can't take it away from everybody. I mean, there's it goes underground afterwards. I know what I'm talking about with that. So I love the idea that we have UK lawmakers that are sitting there looking at unbacked crypto assets. They're looking at also Bitcoin. And Ether should be regulated as gambling rather than financial services because it's unbacked by any kind of insurance or gold, silver, or fiat. So they're trying to bring in Bitcoin with it. Unfortunately, they're just going to look at the whole crypto market as gambling because too many people have been losing too much money in a short amount of time. That is no different than gambling. If you have a short time frame preference, Bitcoin will wreck you. Absolutely wreck you. Every time. Like mine got lost in a boating accident. I know, right? That's only if they're registered. I wouldn't have registered them. I'm just saying. Either that, you need to move out of China, though. I'm not saying that the USSA is any better than China, but USSA still has like some semblances of like remote freedoms. So come down to USSA. Or you can go all the way to Mexico. If you make it all the way to Mexico, bro, you are in the land of the free. Like, there's no water here in Arizona. Well, it depends on what part of Arizona you're talking about. Shh. You can still find water. And paper wallets, they just don't last in the water. I don't know why. One day they'll make a better paper wallet. So so the UK is sitting there wanting to regulate all of it as gambling. That will keep it from reaching any kind of an adoption rate inside of the UK's economy. Too bad for them. I believe that it's got there is grassroots amount of people out there that do utilize Bitcoin in the UK as money. And I know that that's going to be something that they don't want to be utilized either. But from the point of view from a regulator, I kind of understand it. It was once $64,000. Then it crashed down, So those kind of swings is not something that you want to see in a financial sector or in an investment vehicle. It gives you good arbitrage. So if you're a swing trader, it's amazing. But swing traders are gamblers. That's gambling on the stock market. So I can see where they're coming from. From the Bitcoin perspective, I don't agree with it. It's crypto that's the problem and not Bitcoin. But because of the swing highs and swing lows, and the government doesn't want to see the people going through massive pullbacks in case, hey, what happens if they needed to get their money? But again, if they invested into a company that went belly up, they'd be in the same boat. Look at all the people that invested into Hertz and Enterprise car rentals that took a massive bloodbath. Hertz Rental Company went out of business. How many investors in the stock market lost their money? Nobody went boo-hoo on them. So, it's like, but this is UK. They have different rules and regulations on how they do things in their House of Commons. We'll have to see how they decide to regulate it, because if they look at the whole market as gambling and they want to regulate it as such, that will slow down Bitcoin adoption within the UK. And too bad for them. What's up, Dan the Dane? What's up, my brother? From another mother. Hopefully you're doing good. How's the leg doing? Hopefully everything's, you're getting around good. Glad to see you're still around. Love it, love it. So, it's all good. Nice. So, with that being said, it's the end of my show, Dan the Dane, so I'm going to go ahead and sign up out of here. So if you guys got any kind of comments or questions, certainly please hit me up. Otherwise, put FAs in the Chizzity chat. If you don't have any other comments or questions, FA in the chat. There are 8 awesome people in the chat right now. Let's go ahead and get an FA, sea of FAs if you got nothing going on. You got no other comments or questions? Oh yeah, we got FAs in the Chizzity chat because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. And like Fudweiser said after the stream, click that link after the stream. Don't just click off the stream. It helps me with the click-through rate, and it helps the YouTube algorithm promote me. I know, it's wild. It's the few of you people that have been participating in it. You guys rock. You've been helping me out with the YouTube algorithm. Let's see. Does anybody going on afterwards that I'm able to send it to? Nope. So thank you everybody for being here. Smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you are new here, certainly check out the links down below. Join the Discord, it's free. Or if you'd like to have your rigs hosted at the Family Mine LLC, certainly join the Patreon. Links down below. Get into the pseudo hasher tier, guys. Love to have you all be part of the show. So with that being said, peace out. Stay savage. And may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one.